Welcome back, guys, to another life update video. This one's going to be slightly different. This one's going to be more focused on Alex Pretti and that whole situation. The reason why it's different is because these videos are mainly to talk about my life, what I'm doing, and how I'm feeling. And this situation has been kind of plaguing my mind for the whole week. So I thought I would just make a video of it. I don't want this to be the start of being a political channel. I don't want to be a political channel. It just seemed like this event was so dramatic where it's hard not to even address it and give you my thoughts. I think the main reason why I'm making this is because I feel like I'm representative of the average American. Maybe I'm worse, I don't know. But for me, it's like I know of news things that are happening, but I might not be the most informed person. Like, I might not actually read in-depth articles on things to understand stuff. This situation happened, and it just seems so crazy, you know? And you see so much conflicting information that even someone like me who's not well informed starts to wonder, is the US really going in the wrong direction here? I think the main thing for today is just I want to look at the videos, so viewer discretion advised. I want to look at the videos. I want to address what the government has said about this situation and what the broader public has said about this situation, because again, it seems like everybody's getting a little bit more divided all the time, but then there's other people who just they stick to their party lines for no reason, to the point where, given full video evidence, they say something contradictory. And I wish the government would do this in front of the news reporters when they're doing a press briefing or something. Just physically watch the video. If they could just watch the video in front of the whole nation and all these reporters and say what is happening, because it seems like there's such a huge disconnect as to what happens in this video, what happened, and what is being said. And that's so concerning for me. And so that's the main focus of this video. So I want to go through the three main videos that I could find that are not covered in news, banners, or anything like that, not edited or anything. It's as close to the original source as I can find it. So again, for anyone who might be misinformed, ill-informed, or just doesn't know the situation, you guys can see it here. We can walk through it together, and we can talk about it. So let's get right into it with clip one. So here, this is the one that we've all seen, I think. It doesn't really give you too much information, just a guy in a car, and then occasionally he pans over to show Alex having a confrontation with Border Patrol, but I think that's about it. There is more on here, and it's all synced up, but the video resolution gets a lot lower. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to angle 2, which gives us a little bit more context to the situation. Okay. So it looks like Border Patrol is pushing a lady, and then he kind of goes to stop him, and then he's getting pepper sprayed, and that kind of starts the whole scenario. I'm just gonna let it play out. Okay. And so that's where it starts firing. And then we have angle 3, which is, I think, probably the most clear-cut situation. Again, I couldn't find a higher res version of this video, but to make sure that no one thinks that it's AI upscaled or AI changed or anything, or edited in any sort of way, I just kind of go with this one. It gets the main point across, but at the cost of quality. Okay, so again, we see him just kind of getting thrown around right now. Honestly, this is a pretty rough scenario. And yeah, there he goes down. Okay, so we've seen all the clips now, right? I think there's another angle. I couldn't find it. And honestly, after seeing these, I don't necessarily want to see more. But now that we've all seen it together, I just want to go and look up. I want to look up, what did DHS, or Department of Homeland Security, say about this? So over here, so if we scroll all the way down here to the 24th. Okay, yeah, so if you're trying to see these videos for yourself, here's where they are. This is what they said, and it's still posted. It's still posted, which is the crazy part. So it says, at 9:05 a.m. CT, a DHS law enforcement officer was conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien wanted for a violent assault, and then individual approached the U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun seen here. The officers attempted to disarm the suspect, but the armed suspect violently resisted. More details on the armed struggle are forthcoming. Okay, so fearing for the life and the lives of the other safety officers, an agent fired defensive shots. Okay, so as you can see, here's the weapon. Now, based off of this, right, if you were just to hear this, it sounds like he approached the U.S. officers with a 9mm handgun. It sounds like, you know, the handgun was pretty prevalent, you know. Like, I'm making it known. Based off of that video, you would not know he has a gun because it's concealed, right? And then, not that I'm reading into this, I mean, they literally say the officers attempted to disarm the suspect, but the armed suspect violently resisted. So they are also implying it there too, that it was being shown, which again, that is not the case. This is a blatant lie from the government, and it is still up. It's not changed. It's nothing, which is crazy. So that is kind of scary, right? Again, if we go over here, they do have a lot cleaner versions. Again, trying to find the source video is pretty hard. But if we were to go over here, as you can see here, let's see. As you can see here, right? He's waving this car on. Okay. Now, DHS might be right that they were performing some sort of operation. Okay, fair enough, right? Is he obstructing here? Possibly. Again, I'm not a law enforcement officer to know, but clearly he is now out of the road, or mainly out of the road, right? Here again, he's holding his phone, his arms up, so he's not like really resisting in any sort of way, right? Okay, now he's getting attacked though, right? He's getting pulled around. Okay. Again, this video is very grainy, so it's again hard to say. Is he really tightening it up? It doesn't look like that. From the other angles, right here. So this guy, you can see again in other videos. This is the one that I could find. The gun is right here, and it gets removed. And this guy is the guy who shoots. So he should be able to see that there's the gun right here. And you'll see in angle 2, I believe, the guy's hands are right here. So you'd have to really reach behind his back to make even sort of a threat here. But as you can see, he's literally just trying to block this guy from attacking her more. He's just trying to stop her from getting attacked more, right? And then as he comes around, again, it doesn't look like he's violent. I mean, he's just trying not to get beat up so much, you know? Now again, I don't know if law enforcement says if you're trying not to get beat up, that's violently resisting, but it doesn't look like you're violently resisting at this point. All that being said though, now it's what has the government said about this situation? One of the top officials there, Stephen Miller on Twitter, had replied to someone and said, a domestic terrorist tried to assassinate federal law enforcement, and this is your response? You and the state's entire Democrat leadership team has been flaming the flames of insurrection for the singular purpose of stopping deportation of illegals who invaded the country. So he's saying domestic terrorists tried to assassinate law enforcement officers, right? Again, very, very false once you've looked at the videos, right? If this guy was trying to assassinate these law enforcement officers, he would have at least had the gun pulled at that point, right? But it continues because the head of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, basically was asked about this statement, and basically she was like, "Oh yeah, that's the definition of what a domestic terrorist is." But again, there's just video that shows it clear as day. Clear as day. It's one thing to not be able to admit you're wrong and double down on that claim, even though you know you are wrong. And it's a whole nother thing where you just truly believe that you're right in situations like this. Like, these government officials think he was actually a terrorist. That seems like a huge problem. And because of this information that's going out to the public, now the public, who again might be misinformed or uninformed, will see this and then just assume they're right, because why would government want to lie, right? You know, it's like the things that I've been hearing on social media, right? Like, he was a nurse, he helped veterans, he was legally caring, he did not have a criminal history outside of speeding tickets, he didn't have his permit, he reached for his gun, he violently resisted, he had 2 magazines on him, right? So these are all things that I've heard from social media, and Does any of that really help, right? Does making him a nurse or that he helped veterans make any difference as to why he was killed? No. So is it really relevant? No. Was he legally carrying? Is that relevant? He was still shot. Same thing with criminal history. Again, if he's a criminal, but you guys don't know he's a criminal, and you shoot him, you still shot a guy, right? I don't want to get super political here. I can understand if ICE is going in for a targeted operation and they keep getting harassed by all these people, if they're legitimately trying to get, the worst of the worst, as in their own words, the worst of the worst, child rapists, all that type of stuff, that's fine by me. Like, if you're gonna take the bad people out of our country, fair. I think that's reasonable. And they should do it in a way where, again, they don't have all this interruption or obstruction happening. But it seems like, based off all the videos you can readily see on the internet, it seems like they are just harassing U.S. citizens most of the time. Now again, is the videos we see on the internet a representative sample of the broader situation, or is it just like a very small, very, very, very narrow group of bad actors, Who knows? But on the flip side, what isn't being recorded, And one huge thing for me is, again, if the government lies openly about this, who's gonna trust them to want them to keep doing what might be good, Like, if they truly are taking out the bad guys, the people who are violently assaulting people or child rapists and all that stuff, if they are truly doing that, right, but they are also just lying about blatant murder, it's hard to even back them, even if, again, their mission is truly this, and if it is just bad apples, where's the accountability? It seems like a lot of this stuff is happening. A lot of U.S. citizens are being harassed or intimidated. As just recently they said, one ICE individual was trying to get into, I believe, Ecuador's consulate, which again is crazy. It's crazy. It's literally, it's a different country's legal property, That's insane. Again, maybe everything on video is what is the worst looking, and maybe it's very narrow, but I'm just assuming there's a lot of stuff that's not recorded, and that seems to be a problem. So how do we fix it? I think the main thing is trying to not lie. I feel like that's the first start, If the government was doing their best to fight the bad guys, right, and this unfortunate situation happened, if they could just take responsibility for that and say, hey, this isn't what we're supposed to be doing, it's definitely a bad situation. I feel like that would be a perfect start, So then there would be some sort of trust that the government is just not trying to lie to the American people. And then after that, again, if they are going after all these people, I would make that the main priority over standard illegal immigrants or just, again, U.S. citizens. If you guys stop doing that, or if somehow you guys can just stop attacking U.S. citizens, I think that would be a good step in the right direction. I don't know how we can fix this. Mainly, again, the reason why I made this video is so if anybody is watching and was confused or misinformed, they can see it here now. They can see the links to watch it for themselves, and they can make a decision. Hopefully, they'll see what most people are seeing and think this is very wrong. Until next week, guys, see ya.